Paris Saint-Germain 3-1 Aston Villa. Highlights, man of the match, stats as magical Kvaratskhelia Dewy shine. Kvicha Kvaratskhelia and Desire Dewy lit up the Champions League at the Parc des Princes on Wednesday night, leading Paris Saint-Germain to a 3-1 first-leg victory over Aston Villa. PSG were extremely dominant in the opening 45 minutes, but unexpectedly fell behind when Morgan Rogers was left unmarked at the back post to slot into the net. However, just 4 minutes later, Dewy dazzled the Parc des Princes with a sensational curled strike into the top right corner, restoring parity going into the break. There was no let-up for Aston Villa in the second half, as PSG relentlessly pressed forward in their attempt to put the tie to bed, and the Villains will take a 2-goal deficit back to Villa Park as Kvaratskhelia gave Axel Disasi nightmares before firing into the top left corner, and Nuno Mendes added a third late on to make it 3-1 at the full-time whistle. Sportsmole's verdict. It is hard to put into words the sheer magnificence of this PSG side, particularly tonight's performances from Dewy and Kvaratskhelia, who utterly terrorized the Aston Villa defense. While the two wingers would often be described as luxury players, both are clearly fully invested into the high-pressing system that Luis Enrique prefers, something that cannot be said for past PSG teams. That willingness to run and defend makes all the difference at this stage of the Champions League, and it is clear to see why they are one of the favourites to go on and lift the trophy. Aston Villa can be pleased with how they stayed in the tie though, as many lesser sides would have collapsed under the immense pressure that the Parisians applied throughout the 90 minutes. Although conceding the late third goal will hurt, the Villains may well face more of the same in the return leg, but with the Villa Park crowd spurring them on, Aston Villa will have reason to believe they can fight their way back into this match next week. Paris Saint-Germain vs Aston Villa highlights. Morgan Rogers goal versus Paris Saint-Germain 35th min, Paris Saint-Germain 0-1 Aston Villa. Aston Villa strike first. Exploding head. Morgan Rogers is at the back post to finish off a ruthless counterattack. White medium star. Football on TNT Sports at Footballant April 9, 2025. Unbelievable, Villa have taken the lead through Rogers. John McGinn dispossesses Mendes on the left side, charges forward and cuts onto his left foot and switches the ball to Marcus Rashford on the left. Rashford quickly lays the ball to the overlapping Yuri Tielemans, who smashes the ball across the box for Rogers to slot into the gaping net and give Villa the lead against the run of play. Desire Dewy goal versus Aston Villa 39th min, Paris Saint-Germain 1-1 Aston Villa. Well, that did not last long. That is sensational from Dewy. PSG are circulating the ball around the Villa box, working possession to the left side with Dewy, who looks to go past Rogers in search of a shooting angle. The winger fakes a shot, bursts past his marker and curls an effort into the top right corner via the underside of the crossbar. Absolutely unstoppable from the teenager. Kvicha Kvaratskhelia goal versus Aston Villa 39th min, Paris Saint-Germain 2-1 Aston Villa. Oh my word, magical from Kvaratskhelia. PSG launch a sweeping counter-attack, moving the ball from right to left as they surge towards the Aston Villa goal, with the ball ending at Kvaratskelia's feet. The winger looks to cut onto his right foot, but skillfully rolls his studs over the ball to shift onto his left, sending Disasi the wrong way, and fires into the top left corner off the post. Nuno Mendes goal versus Aston Villa 92nd min, Paris Saint-Germain 3-1 Aston Villa. PSG have a third, composed and classy from Mendes. Ousmane Dembele has the ball in the middle of the park and perfectly plays Mendes into the Aston Villa box, with the defender running between Aston Villa's fullback and central defender to get through on goal. Mendes looks to shoot on his left foot, making Emi Martinez and Ezri Konsa challenge. Cuts onto his right foot and finishes into the top corner to score a late third. Man of the match, Desire Doué. Doué and Kvaratskhelia, not much more needs to be said. The two wingers terrorized Aston Villa with their skillful brilliance all night. While they both showed the willingness to defend that the likes of Lionel Messi, Neymar, and Kylian Mbappé never offered during their time at PSG. Doué ultimately takes the crown. Having been more influential in the first half and continuing his magic during his time in the second half, but in truth, both were just a cut above everyone else tonight, a statement in itself given the superb performances of several PSG players. Paris Saint-Germain vs Aston Villa match stats. Possession, Paris Saint-Germain 75% to 25% Aston Villa. Shots, Paris Saint-Germain 29-7 Aston Villa. Shots on target, Paris Saint-Germain 10-2 Aston Villa. Corners, Paris Saint-Germain 9-1 Aston Villa. Fouls, Paris Saint-Germain 9-8 Aston Villa. What next? PSG, having already wrapped up the Ligue 1 title, saw their league fixture postponed in order to give them longer preparation time for the second leg of this clash, giving the Parisians a week break before their trip to England. Aston Villa have not been granted the same luxury, with Unai Emery's men set to face Southampton on Saturday afternoon, where 3 points could prove crucial in their ongoing race for a place in the top 5 of the Premier League. Thanks for your watching. Don't forget to click the subscribed button and hit the bell icon for more.